everybody, welcome back to Issa Debate. We are ready for yet another great debate between the girlfriends of the best illustrious university, well known as Howard. I was in a little Facebook group and somebody said that other schools use the word illustrious. Please don't do that. There's only one school. All right. We are, if this is your first time tuning in with us, we are a group of friends from Howard University. We have been together since 2007. That means y'all are getting old and I'm just getting finer. So
I don't think that's how that works.
We like to debate different topics, and so we figured why not start a podcast? And so you will be, we have two people who will be debating a topic. They did not get to pick what side they wanted to debate, but they will present their arguments and we will vote on who had the best argument, not your personal opinion. But before we get into our debate, we're going to start with the hot topic. Who's throwing that for us? Oh, wait. Y'all, no, we are not doing the hot topic right now. We're about to introduce ourselves because some of y'all may not know who we are. And if you don't, I need you to go back and listen to season 1, episode 1, and start from the very beginning so we can get our ratings up. Thanks, guys. All right, so we'll start with our introductions. I'm Lindsey. I'm going to be the host for this episode. I did not even introduce myself at the beginning. Now we're going to go in alphabetical order. Ladies.
Hey, everybody. It's Alanna.
Hey, y'all. It's Alex.
Hey, it's Kristy.
Paige.
Tena.
Hey, it's Tianny.
All right, so now we're going to get into our hot topic. Who's throwing our hot topic out for us? I guess it'll be me. All right.
Got the question. I definitely forgot.
The question is, would you date a man who has kids?
Well, I'll start. I am aware that I have reached, I am a woman of a particular age where it is very likely that anybody that I date will have children. So I am not against dating children. Howsoever,
Dating
Children?
What did I say?
You said you want to date kids, baby. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Please clarify the statement. Please clarify the statement.
Run that one back for us. Try again.
So I'm gonna get started. I am aware that I am a woman of
And don't edit that out either. Keep it.
Oh, I am. And I'm aware that at this age that it is very likely that whoever I date will probably have children. So no, I am not against dating someone who has children. Howsoever, there is an age limit on those children. I am not in the field of dating people with newborns because what happened? You just had that kid. Something's still fresh. Child still fresh. I don't like it. Also, I would prefer the child could be able to walk, talk, and take themselves to the bathroom by the time you meet me. And then maybe we could talk about it. But yeah, that's my opinion. Don't look at me.
So it's like a 97% no for me.
97%.
And this is gonna sound really, really asshole of me, but it's the truth. Like the only way I will consider it is if the mother is either like dead or not involved.
I knew she was gonna say
dead. I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew
sorry.
We're
Like
just
you
being
have full
honest on this
custody.
platform. We're just being
I do
honest.
appreciate your honesty. This is a brave
My
space.
truth. It's your truth.
Mm-hmm. It is my truth.
I would say yes, but I wouldn't want the children to be too old or too young because one, I fight kids. So like I don't need no 10-year-old. I'll square off with a 10-year-old. It's not a problem for me. Like
She does
that's
fight
nothing.
kids.
But at the same time, I'm not wiping butt. So you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not changing you. So hopefully you can wipe your own butt. What age is that? Like 7, 6? Like really wipe your own butt that I don't have to check. Because even, 3 and 4-year-olds, you got to check. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to have to check.
They be having that crusty booty. I
would
know.
say at least first
I work
grade.
with pre-K. If you keep playing back there, baby, you miss some stuff.
Jesus Christ. This is why I teach high school. Jesus.
That is nasty.
Got an itchy booty.
They got that little walk too. That you can tell they did not. Okay.
Ma'am.
So for me, I always said no kids, no kids, no kids. Like I was a Paige at one point in time. So I feel you, my sister. But as I'm getting out on the dating scene and I'm becoming older, the age range widens. And so I may be looking to date somebody that may be 4 or 5 years older than me. And they may have a child. And I don't know how the process would be of dating a man with kids, because I'm sure that becomes a lot. Because I feel like you should be wary of any man who wants to introduce you to their child at the very beginning, because this could just be a very limited interaction type thing, and you don't want to introduce yourself to anybody who is not a for sure thing, or we're definitely going to try this out. But I'm open to it. I'm also with Alex and Tianny. Don't want anybody that just had a new baby. If you had a new baby, that means you're probably still having very close interactions with the mother. Even if you're not, y'all still got something going on, and that's okay, baby. Take your time. Worry about your newborn. And I also don't want to date anybody, I feel like, who does have a teenager. Now, if you have a child that's outside of the house and they're in college, maybe they don't really have control over your life. But I'm open to it. But it's not a yes or no. You just have to kind of see how the vibes are, I feel like. Because what if my soulmate has a child, y'all?
I think you should
Look at Paige.
based on how you feel comfortable. Because, I mean, like Lindsey said, things change. Like before, that was a deal breaker. And now you're like, okay, maybe I'm okay with one. Mm-hmm. Or, you know what I mean? Your kids are of a certain age and stuff like that. Things change, but
I'm not dating no
futurist. You're dating.
Now, if you got like multiple children,
got
like
multiple women,
right? Multiple women.
Yeah,
it's a no.
Recognize the red flags.
Yeah, if you got multiple
without words being spoken,
it's a no. It's a no.
So for me, as a mother and as a child of a blended family, a beautiful blended family, and I have a little stepsister. She's not little, she's like 27, but still. Younger than me. My answer is hell no. No, I'm just kidding. I'm with Alanna. My answer would be it largely depends on the person with the kids.
Yeah.
Because I feel like your behavior and your situation is gonna depend on what I put up with. And kids aside, what you are and aren't willing to put up with largely depends on the person in the base case. So I just think that's still applicable.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why kids are not a deal breaker, because your behavior, like if I'm willing to put up with you, you know, and I want to be with you, then that probably means that your situation is not chaotic, because then, you know, you're probably not a chaotic person. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Usually if you have a chaotic situation with your kids, it probably will show before I even meet the child.
This is true.
No?
You should also ask yourself, do I like kids? Because if you don't like kids, then you don't want to date anybody with kids.
Damn.
Because kids are assholes.
Do you think it changes if that person does not have sole custody? Like that kid's not living with you?
They still gotta come.
I mean, they visit, but they don't live here.
Well, but okay, you also have to think about your schedule too. You guys as single people coming together, like if y'all like to travel, you now have to travel around
a kid's
those
schedule.
days that the kid is coming. You know what I mean? Like, what if it's your 35th birthday and you trying to go to the Maldives, but that's the weekend little
You got your
Rugrats supposed to be with y'all.
And that for me is why I cannot be involved if the mother's involved, because I feel like it impedes a lot on your freedom as a family. And so like, even if it's not vacation, say I get this awesome job in Texas. So now we have to go through this whole process of dealing with the other parent to decide like, can we actually take this job in Texas?
That's very real.
Or
That
we
your
want a
life
new
is
house.
now tied.
Yeah, and to me, it's just not really worth it.
That's very real.
That's real.
So
That is
an
very
interesting. That's an interesting perspective, because what I was thinking was, if I'm at the point where I'm dating someone who has a kid, and then that person is not intimately involved with your kid, like, I'm gonna be judging you. So it's just like, if I were to date somebody, like, yeah, you need to be all up in your kid's life. It can't be every other weekend type situation, because I'm gonna be looking at you sideways. Like, that's just like, if I had a stepchild, that's not how I would want to be involved in their life. So and that's just my personal choice. Like, if I have a child in my life, they need to be in my life, right? And that's just my choice. So I think I'm kind of on the polar end where it's just like, if we're gonna do it, we need to be like doing it, I wouldn't date somebody who's like a once a month father, just personal.
But okay, so if he is heavily involved in his child's life, right? You still have that baggage of, we're doing great in Atlanta, but I get this amazing job opportunity in San Francisco, which would be great for our household. However, your child and their mother lives in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, that is changing y'all's family dynamic. Whereas if he didn't have that child and this child was now y'all's child, obviously y'all can get up and move. So that is something to consider, because that's going to change your life, not just his or his child.
Yes, but and again, this goes down to personal choice, but it's like, if that's your child, and that's what I'm saying, like, we have to either be intimately involved or not, because then it shouldn't be like your family, my family. Right? Like, at the point that it's like, your kid is holding me back, like, that's not the situation I want to be in. For me, right? And I'm not saying that situation doesn't exist. Plenty of situations exist like that. I'm just saying, if I was participating, like, that is one way to participate. But that's not how I would participate in it. Because then it's like, if it's like, your kid, your family, blah, 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 like, I feel like that would be too messy for me, to your point.
But even if you didn't bring it up to the family, because you recognize that, you know what I mean, the kid is over there, say it's part of certain weeks, or, you know what I mean, like, whatever the custody situation is, you get presented with this opportunity at work, like, hey, you've done great, we want to offer you this promotion, but it's based in San Francisco and you're based in Atlanta. It's like, now I'm like, well, I'm not even going to consider this, because I recognize that this child, his life is here with his mother as well as us. You know what I mean? I don't want to put a wrench in having someone to decide no, or telling me, no, we can't pursue this because my child is here. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the idea I'm thinking about it. Not like, oh, he's preventing me from it. But you as a person would just look at the situation and be like, I love this man that I'm with. I recognize that he loves his child and wants to be there for them and in their lives. So if I want to continue this relationship, I need to turn down this opportunity to stay here.
And
yes, but that can happen without kids. So like, John's company is headquartered in San Fran, and they've asked if he would be willing to move for promotion, and he can't move. Like, that's not where we're at. So it's just like,
yeah, but the difference is that the conversation is between you two.
Yeah,
it doesn't involve
another person's opinion.
it's all based on y'all's dynamic in your household and whether this is a good opportunity as a family, you know what I mean? Like y'all's family, and not, is this a good opportunity because of this child?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think it's so important that if you are dating somebody with kids, is that you understand the dynamic, because it could be different. It could be where it's 50-50. It could be where the mother is sole custody or the father is sole custody. So then you get a better understanding of what it is. Because if the mother is sole custody and you're dating a man, he of course is going to have more freedom. I don't know what y'all's situation was before you met me, but for whatever reason, you're going to have more time to be with me. But yet, I feel like you need to say what it is up front so that the other person has the choice to choose whether they want to even put themselves in that type of situation.
And that's why I be asking hypothetical questions. Okay, so what if X, Y, Z? I used to ask all the time, like random hypotheticals, because I just want to understand what your thought process is if something like this came up, even if it never does. But I just want to understand like how you would move. Would you be open to it? Would we need to discuss it more? Like all of that type of stuff. That's why I'd be like, well, what if this happened?
Men, there's your answer right there of why women ask hypothetical questions. Okay.
And you also want to know if he on ding 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 child support, which brings us to our topic we are debating.
Come on, segue.
So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about, should child support be mandatory? And we're talking about for either party, okay? Because more recently, I'm finding out that there are a lot of men who have custody of their kids. Okay, back in the day, it used to be vice versa, okay? But things are changing, just like things are changing on our last episode. So make sure you check that out. Gender roles. All right, today we have debating Tena and Tianny. Tena is dating. Tena is dating the affirmative. No, she's debating for the affirmative. Child support should be mandatory. And Tianny is saying it should not be mandatory. All right, so we're going to pass it off to our debaters. Tena, take it away.
All right, ladies, I would like to present to you in America, on behalf of all the amazing fathers out there, I implore you fathers to put yourselves on child support. And this is why. I know so many good dads who, to the best of their abilities, go above and beyond for their kids. And if things go sour in your relationship with your mother of your child, then some of those things can be discredited. They can't be counted. You can't count every single time you gave extra cash. You can't count every single time you picked up a day to give the mother of your child a break. And that's why I think that child support is to the benefit of a lot of men, just to set ground rules on minimum expectations. On the converse side, a lot of men these days, as Lindsey mentioned, want to be more involved in their children's life, and they can't get more time. They want to get more time. Will you march yourself on down to the court and you get yourself some more time? Okay, so I do think that, it is to the men's benefit to just say, if you want to be a good dad, if you want to be in there, don't let the dynamics between you and the mother of your child prevent you from participating in the way that you want to participate or to undermine your efforts. Now, I'd like to speak on behalf of the ladies. Let me readjust myself here. Hold on. Let me tell you about a newborn. A newborn that is breastfed has to eat every 2 hours, ladies. Every 2 hours for a month, okay? And then if they're bottle fed, it might be like 3 to 4 hours. That is through the night, okay? That means for me, I was pumping and she was eating every 2 hours. That's maximum. You don't know what your baby's schedule is going to be, okay? So we would wait. I would set my timer for 2 hours. We would wake up. I would feed her, rock her, get back to sleep. 30 minutes minimum. Then I would pump for 30 minutes. Then I would try to fall asleep, another 15 minutes, which meant I could sleep for 45 minutes before we woke up and did the cycle again. And that was for an entire month. And that's assuming that your baby will sleep. Okay, they might just be awake. And so you're telling me that $500, $750, $1,000 is supposed to cover that? I couldn't even hire a night nurse for that much. Okay, so when you think about raising a child, and then let's get to weekend. Okay, so let's say the child is older, they're in school. I gotta wake them up, get to school, get myself to work, get home, do their after school activities, do their homework. Let's say I got 3 kids, okay? And now you're picking them up for half a day on Saturday and again, giving me $500 a month. And you think that's adequate? Men, you know what is an option to pay less money? It's to do 50-50 custody of your kids. If you want to pay less, you can simply take care of your kids. Men who pay more generally are not, now I'm not talking about super rich celebrities, I'm talking about regular Joe Schmoes like me and you. If you want to pay less, you can simply take care of your kids more. Okay? So it's like you're choosing not to have 50-50 custody, and then you're mad because you need to garnish 50% of your salary. And then I want to take it a step further. Then the men talking about, oh, I want to see where the money goes because I don't want her to spend it on herself. So now I got to raise your child and keep the Excel tabulation? No, sir. This is way too much. You always have an option to pay less, which is how you take care of your kids. Okay, so then men talking about, oh, I gotta stay here, I need to work over here, blah, 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 blah. You don't think your work location would be constrained if you were taking care of your kids? You don't think your work hours would be constrained if you had to pick them up from school and drop them off? So I don't want to hear it. Location constraints, you know, you got to work, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear it because who do you think is doing what you say you can't do? And you, again, simply take care of your kids if you don't want to pay. That's all I got to say.
All right. Thank you, Miss. I was about to say Miss Hunter. Mrs.
Well, don't say
LaRose.
my real name, don't say my real last name.
Thank you, Tena. All right. Now we have Tianny with child support should not be mandatory.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Tena for her many, many good arguments. Let me go ahead on and knock them all down one by one. First and foremost, we all have a choice. The choice of the mother starts whether she wants to have the child or not. The father usually does not have a say in this. There are a few examples of men who have begged the women to have the child, and they don't have any right or any power because, as the saying goes, her body, her choice. It goes on this side as well. If I don't want to be involved in this child's life, I should not, that is my choice. I should not be held financially captive because we or you decided that you wanted to have this child. When you decided to want to have this child, I had the right and the opinion to say, I did not want to be involved because now we're leaning towards gender discrimination. Let's just put that out there. She mentioned that some fathers have custody. That happens all the time. I actually have a friend who has custody of at least one of his children because the mother did not want the child. All right. Judges are less likely to put women on child support because women, the job of women would usually be a whole lot less. We all know that women make 70 cents on a dollar for a man. Right. Also, child support is not to take the place of a whole person, i.e., just because you had to breastfeed that baby all through the night, whether I was there or not, you still gonna have to breastfeed that baby all through the night. anybody's husband cannot breastfeed any baby all throughout the night. No man can breastfeed a baby all throughout the night. The viral video that went around with the night nurse that did all of that stuff, that would be great, but that is very, very like not plausible. It just does not happen. The father has a right to abandon as much as the mother has a right to abortion. And that's not a topic that we like to discuss, but it is real. Like, you have your choices, I have mine. Also, if we decided about a custody thing, and a man kept the child, he would need more money. So you don't want child support to be mandatory because it would put more strain on a person who's already making 70 cents on the dollar. Tena?
Wait now.
Wait.
We have heard from both sides. It's
Lindsey said let her do her
a
job.
little heated up in the room, and I mean the Zoom room. So now, Tena, what you got for Tianny?
I got some flames for Tianny. Okay? They said it's a shortage of Red Hot Cheetos, but it's about to be served right now. Okay.
Oh.
First of all, Tianny, I cannot believe you. When you say that men do not have a choice to have this baby. Moment of silence. No, you don't have the right to choose what I do with my body, aka abortion. First of all, nobody really has that right anymore because these Republicans are tripping. But aside from that, no, you don't have the right to do with what I have to do with my body. But when you're having sex with me, you are completely in control. You can absolutely wear a condom. That is 100% your choice. Now, if we decide to not wear a condom, and then I maintain the right to choose what I do with my body, because to say that a man should have a choice in whether or not a woman can or can't have an abortion is basically what have been argued by lawmakers. So I don't understand what's the difference between a lawmaker deciding whether a woman has a right or a man deciding, right? The right should still belong to the women. You had your opportunity. So boom, that one is squashed. Number 2, nights alone. Okay, no, a man can't breastfeed a baby, but you know what a man can do? Make me some apple slices in the middle of the night. Get me some water, change a diaper, do the morning shift, give a baby some formula. Okay, you can be there supporting. So it's just like, imagine sleeping for 45 minutes at a time for an entire month with no support. And you talking about they're garnishing 50% of my wages. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Not to mention, like, just if you have this baby, the physical stress your body is under while you're going through this mental stress. No men can't do that. But if you're not there supporting, right, the whole reason why you're on child support is because you can't be there to support, okay? I understand that some men, they might not be married, right? And so let's say he is in the home. And so he can support you through that, and then maybe there's still some child support. But that can be considered when you go to court to do this child support. It can be like, we're not married and we're gonna put this formal child support documentation together, but that's going to consider that even though we're not together, I'm in the home supporting you. We can consider that, and your ass can still be on child support. Okay, so that's number 2, squash. My third one was the right to abortion. I think I covered that in number 1, so I'm going to just say number 3, squash.
All right, Tianny, what you got to say back?
Oh, you wrong. Let me tell you how. So choices that were made, right? Condom, that's on both of us. A man not having a vasectomy, that's on me. A woman not being on birth control, that's on you. But there's an option you have that I don't, and that's called the morning after pill. The second you decided not to take that morning after pill and have that baby, there were a slew of unintended consequences that came with that, i.e., you ruining your body. Oops, oh well, that was on you. You decided to have that baby, and that is on you. Also, if child support is mandatory, it will be used more as a weapon than it is now. Child support is used as a weapon. I am upset with you. I don't want to be bothered with you no more. I am going to put you on child support. If you take that away from people, you probably, maybe, possibly have less pregnancies outside of wedlock. But that's just a popular opinion on the internet. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. The unintended choices of you having your own baby, knowing that man had not wanting nothing to do with you or your child, that's on you. All right, your choices. These are unintended consequences of your choices. When you chose to have this baby, you knew you was gonna be up all night. You knew you was gonna have to pay for them diapers in that daycare by yourself. Unintended choices of your consequences. If I made the choice to not be involved in a child's life, I should not be held financially captive for that.
Okay. I got something to say though. Let's think if it was.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
Oh, sorry.
That's not how it works.
That's not how any of this works. We vote.
No. I'm not talking about y'all vote, but I want. Never mind. Okay, I'm trying to get the arguments of both because the question we had was general. Never mind. Okay, so Tena, you got anything to say to Tianny?
I sure damn do because I literally was going to start this and say, Tianny, so you're telling me that a man who has a baby should not be financially responsible if he doesn't want to, but then you went ahead and damn said it yourself, and I am at a loss for words. Okay, this is the thing. A child, so parents are responsible for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are responsible for their kids, okay? Neither parent should just electively have the right to not participate. Because if a man can say, I don't want this child, a woman can too. Then they should be able to say, don't want an abortion, I don't want this child. And I mean, that is an option today, right? Via adoption, but shouldn't be the base case. That shouldn't be the precedence of what you're saying. That is an unfortunate circumstance, right? And that system is so that child is not left alone, right? That system is not in place as an elective. That system is in place because that child was abandoned, and that is a last case resort for that child to then have to go into the foster care system. And the way you're presenting it in this argument is that it should be an ABC option. And so I just fundamentally disagree that any parent should just be like, as an option, first choice, I'm not going to take care of this kid I created. I think that, again, men, and this, I'm really not going to argue after this. Men, if you don't want to pay child support, you can simply take care of your kids more. Child support is there for fathers who are not giving time. They have to give money instead. And if you don't want to give money, you can give more time. And for the men who are like, well, I'm on the road, I gotta work, blah, blah, blah. Again, I say, what would you do if you had the kid? What do you think the mom is doing? Mm-hmm. She's sacrificing her time and she's working around this child. So that's a really BS excuse to me. Take care of your kids or pay up. But it's in the event that you have to pay up, it's to the benefit of both parties to have this in court. Period, Poole.
Tianny. Mm-hmm.
The argument today is about child support. It's not financial child support, not actually spending time, because as I have a very intimate relationship with child support. I won't go into it, but there's no amount of time. Once you're on child support, there's no amount of time to make up for the money that you have to give. And that's why so many men hate the fact that child support is used as a weapon. It's used as a weapon more than anything else. It just really is. Like you say, it wasn't an option that people thought A, B, and C, but over time, it has become a weapon. No man can go to a judge and say, hey, I'll spend 100 hours with this kid a week instead of doing child support. That is not how it works. Once you are on child support, it is financial. It is always financial. It is not time. You cannot go back. So any woman Any woman who leaves a man or doesn't want the man in her life, or any woman who has the father of a child, she can put him on child support. And I see what you're saying. Yes, parents should be involved in people's lives, but it does not have to be through a legal means of financial child support. If you and your old lady want to get together and y'all write, something saying he spends this amount of time and he spends this amount of money, that's fine. And if the time is short, then the money got to be higher. If the money is higher, the time is shorter, that's fine. But that is not what child support actually is. That's not how any of this works. That's my statement.
A lot of men file for joint custody to avoid paying child support.
I mean, if he has more money and you don't have the money, like if you can't afford the child, then give it to me. But women don't want to do that.
When I'm saying that to your argument of you can't spend more time, you can get joint custody of your child, which is what a lot of men do, to avoid some of your child support payments. So I'm saying if you don't want to pay, then you are welcome to take care of your child 50% of the time.
Okay, let's vote. Because even if I'm on 50-50 child support, if I have half custody and my bill is $1,000 a month, there is no way for me to shorten that bill. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like if we got 50-50 custody and I say, all right, I'm coming to get him every weekend. I'm gonna pick him up from school every day. I'm gonna drop him off to school. Nothing is changing that $1,000. So the child support can still be used as a weapon. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so to Tianny's point, I get what you're saying, which is if you had a once a month custody, you're going to be paying more money. But at the point that you're at 50-50 and you still have some child support, that is what it is. But tough titties, you had it.
and tough titties to you, and you're staying up all night with the breastfeeding, and you knew what it was. You knew what a baby. You ain't the first person to have a baby. Ain't the last person to have a baby. You knew what it was. We can vote.
So I can get this dub.
I don't think it's coming
to all of our listeners. Oh, y'all, this was good. Ooh, this is good.
Yo.
All right, we about to hear from the rest of our panelists and see which way they're going. Tena and Tianny brought the heat, and what I love about this is it was very passionate. You could tell like they could relate to the topic. So we're gonna start with.
Please start with Christy.
We're gonna start with Christy since y'all be hating on my girl. She always gotta be the tiebreaker, and I wanted to give her a 1-2 piece the last time. But we're going to let Christy vote. Go ahead, Christy.
I know we're not supposed to explain too, but in the beginning, I was like, okay, Tena. And then Tianny jumped in. I was like, you know what? You're right, too. And then Tena went back again. I'm like, you know what? Y'all confusing me. Yeah. Not in that way, but like y'all both had some very good arguments, each rebuttal. So this is hard. Based off something that was said in one of the like later rebuttals, I think I'm gonna say Tena.
Okay, Christy, we got one for Tena, Teens Beans. Lana Boo, who you got?
I'm gonna agree with Christy because this argument was hard, and it's also hard to base it on just the argument and not your own personal opinion. And so because y'all are on opposite ends of my screen, I just did Eating Meeny Mighty Mo, and Tianny, you got my vote. So
that is not how this works, but okay.
So we got one for Tena, we got one for we got one for Tena, we got one for Tianny. All right, so we tied up right now. Paige, Peugeot, what do you think, girl?
My vote goes to Tianny.
All right, so 2 for Tianny, which is, by the way, my birthday twin. So on December 15th, make sure you cash app us. Okay. I don't even know if they're gonna see this on the 15th.
No, they're not.
But anyway, Alex, what you got? Crafted Soul?
My vote was gonna go to Tena.
Oh, so y'all leave it up to me.
I'm sorry.
No pressure, Killer. No pressure.
No, we got 2 for Tianny, 2 for Tena. And I'm going with Tianny. So Tianny, I was the tiebreaker, is the winner for this topic. Now, we've established the winner. Okay.
Y'all both had great arguments.
Yo,
Like,
some
I think
flame
that's why this
sounds
one
during
was
that
hard.
argument.
It wasn't even like,
Excuse me.
I know. But sometimes y'all both come in strong and then later on somebody else dominate. And that did not happen. Y'all was just both like,
yeah, y'all were both. I would say that was a great argument. I loved it. But it's now time for us to hear from the debaters.
I can start first and talk about my second robbery in the series.
Oh my God.
That is, I just have to say, that is not how we're supposed to be voting on eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That is not what has to go on here. And so, I mean, it is what it is, but that's not how we're voting. So it's just like, should we just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo every single time? Because, I mean, we could do that.
Who did eeny, meeny, miny, mo?
Alanna said she did eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Y'all,
wow.
Yeah, so next debate, I'm gonna
thank you,
go
Christy.
so whoever gets that, that's what I'm gonna do. But aside from that, I believe everything I said. John and I have talked about this a lot. I do think that because to Tiana's point, child support can be used as a weapon, it's better to just go get a court order. It's like, you don't want your mother of your child manipulating you, then go to court. And it's like, for men who's like, you know, it's garnishing too much of my wages. It's just like, John and I are married. Do you know how much of our married money goes to this child? A lot. So it's just like, so then for a single person to be like, it's too much going to the child, it's just like, this is just what happens with a child. It doesn't matter if you're single or married. So I just think that, I genuinely think it's to the benefit of both parties to just have an agreement that you don't have to argue around, so you can just focus on the child and not your arguments. Because I feel like a lot of the times, how kids, the time they get with their parents and what they get with their parents depends on the relationship between their parents.
Correct.
And I think that, you know, nobody should be keeping children away. Nobody should be like, I can't see you because your mom is tripping. You know, all of these things need to go. And it's just like, I just think that if you're not focused on arguing about these things, then you can just focus on your child. And that's where my perspective is.
Okay, Tianny?
I don't believe the vast majority of things I said. I had to go on what is those message boards to get all of those arguments. And men are hot. Okay, they are hot as fish grease. But they made if I took their arguments and I just made it what it was. Actually liked Tena's idea of just putting it out there so you can get it over with. I probably wouldn't do it, but I do see it's an insurance. It's an insurance policy for the child. But I had a very unpopular opinion about child support. And I think it should be like food stamps, where you only can spend it on certain things. And you have to keep a record of what it is. So like, I found that there is some state that makes you keep an Excel spreadsheet of what you spend the child support money on. And I don't know what state that was, because I didn't care to go that deep into that thread, but the woman was mad. She was like, it cost me $750 to even get the order. I didn't want it, but the state made me do it. And then once I did it, they couldn't find him because he moved out of state. And then they gave me money, but they made me do an Excel spreadsheet for the money. So she was like, after all of that work, like I wasn't even worried about it. But I don't know, because there are things that money cannot take the place of. You know what I'm saying? Like nurturing, presence. I always say your presence is the present. You know what I'm saying? And even to Tena's point, she said something, and I was really about to. You're saying parents shouldn't keep another parent away from a child. I've seen situations because of the place where I work where that is done to protect the child. And so I see what you're saying, but sometimes you do lay down and make poor decisions with the wrong and destructive and abusive person. And to keep that kid safe, you keep them away from a child. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying this every day. So do I agree? Would I keep my child away from, his father or whatever? Probably not, but I also wouldn't lay down with somebody who was absolutely insane and a danger to me or the child. But that option needs to be available for people who do make that poor decision.
But I think as we wrap up what you all two personally believe, I think that's the key in all of it is to be careful with who you are having unprotected sex with. Because as my grandmother says, it's not a mistake. Because we all know what happens when you lay down and you go to bed with somebody, what the possibilities are. And so I would love to hear from the other ladies in the debate about how you feel or any comments or questions you may have.
Can I go first?
Sure.
Okay, so one of the reasons I voted for Tianny is because I feel like, Tena, your argument, I feel like you were making child support a little less messy than what it actually is. And I think it's not talked about very often, and this varies from state to state, but you're talking about like joint custody, that'll split it in half, right? But you can have joint custody with the dad, and the dad only gets them every other weekend. So if someone is still doing that, and I'm pretty sure that I think the number is based off of the two parents' incomes, or the household incomes, excuse me. So when you do that, it's like, okay, this person is getting, let's say, $500 a month. That 500 is not going to stretch for the other 28 days out of the year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's more intricate than the argument that was made. On top of that, I forgot my other point, so you can come back to me. But it's a disaster.
It is messy. I just want to say, for those who are not aware, okay, the only thing that is 100% foolproof of you not having a child is not having sex, okay? There is a percentage. There is a margin of error when it comes to condoms, birth control, like any type of birth control, IUD, the implant, the pill, all of those have a percentage of, oops, you can get pregnant. Hello, roads, okay? So don't think that just because, oh, you know what I mean? Like we wore a condom, now she's pregnant. Like shit happens, condoms break. A pill isn't 100%. So I've been taking my pill and I still turn up like all of that can still happen regardless, because you chose to have sex. Yeah. So the burden of it is on both parties. It's not just one person's fault. You know what I mean? Because you didn't want to wear a condom, so now I'm pregnant. Screw that. If you were on birth control and he wore a condom, there is still a small margin of error that you could still get pregnant. So y'all both need to be in the mental mindset to understand that if a child is brought into this world based on y'all's actions, this child at the end of the day is innocent and needs to be taken care of. Now, with this not birth control, I'm stuck on that. With the child support situation, like no amount of money is going to equate to taking care of this child. Even if it's a 2-person household, like there's the burden of taking care of this child is always going to weigh more on one person than the other. Whether it's the mom because she's breastfeeding and more hands-on, or whether it's the dad because the mom is now suffering from postpartum and can't seem to get herself out of the bed. it's always going to be unbalanced. You know what I mean? Regardless, if you really break it down. So don't think that just because I'm taking your ass to court to get my $500 a month, that's going to be enough to raise this child. So all the BS that men are online bashing females, like regardless, this child needs to get taken care of at the end of the day. On the flip side, there are trifling moms out there as well who need to be taken to court so that this child can, the dad can get some support for raising this child. So it's all messy. And I don't think there's a fine line of whether it, you know what I mean? Like what's to fix the situation, because at the end of the day, the main priority should be taking care of this child. So that's all I got to say.
Anybody else from the panel?
I think I agree. I think it's a very messy situation regardless of how it goes. And I think a lot of that messiness just is a large percentage of the messiness of the relationship between that man and that woman. Because there are all types of scenarios. There are men who pay their child support, consistently as they're supposed to, and maybe even more, but kind of like Tianny saying, where's that money really going? She not spending it on what she's supposed to. There's also men who don't pay the child support that they're supposed to. And even if we talk about celebrities, there's a responsibility that comes with having sex. So you can't be mad at some Instagram chick who's pregnant with your child now and wants money when you slept with her. Like, you took the risk, you slept with her, you are, of a financial standard. And so you need to be, you have to pay for it. So I think all of it's messy. I think that I don't know that there's one fix, because even if, you do go to court, you pay your child support and you pay it on time, what is that money that you're paying really doing? Because $500 a month for any child really ain't shit, like at all. My nephew's formula, that boy go through 4 cases of formula in like 2 weeks, and that's $200 a pop right there. So, what is it really doing? So I don't know. I don't have an answer, but I definitely think that there's no concrete. I don't think it should be mandatory. I think that there needs to be an evaluation of the situation, and not just like everybody got to pay it. But I definitely think it has its basis. I think the system is messed up in general, though.
But I think Tianny hit on a good point where she talked about time and financial responsibility. Because who are you to tell me what I need to spend the money on for a child that I have 24/7, right? So when I go shopping for my child, I'm not doing an itemized checklist. When I go shopping to keep my household up and running, I'm getting the things that I need. Now, are there some women who abuse the system and buy high-priced things? Yes. But I feel that if child support is mandatory, I feel like there should be time spent, and there should be maybe an allowance that you're given. And like everybody, I feel like has said, that $500 is not covering shit. And we're going to be honest, it's not covering half the things a person would do in a month, okay? Because you have your mortgage, you have your rent wherever you stay. If the child lives with me, that $500 is the taxes that I'm paying to live wherever I'm living. So that doesn't even include what I'm feeding them, the extracurricular activities that they may be doing, the gas I may be spending to take them to wherever they're going.
The snacks.
They want to go on a field trip. These field trips be expensive. They add up. I don't want my child eating the school cafeteria lunch, so I'm going to go and buy them something from the grocery store that I make every day.
Doctor's visits.
When you
okay, that copay add up.
Copay.
Now, that's not to say that some women, as was brought up already, use it out of spite or because they're mad that you dated somebody else. But that's why I also like when Tena said, just go ahead and get on it. If you know you're not going to be with this woman, or you don't want to be with this woman or have a family with her, go ahead and just put yourself on it. Like, because it's going to get your headache out the way. If you know in your head this was just a one and done thing, she done got pregnant, she having a child, just go ahead and put yourself on it. But it's just, like somebody already said, it's so many different things to look at. But if somebody has a child the entire time, you cannot put a price on that at all.
If I think the trickiness comes, of course, in these messy situations and the situations that we hear where people do abuse the system and abuse what it's for. So Lindsey switched to what I was gonna bring up, like to one of Tena's points. If it is the mom that's receiving, like let's say it's the mom that's receiving the child support. So like, yes, there's things the baby needs, like diapers, food, all of that. However, where do you draw the line when you have to do like these itemized reports and stuff like that? Because if I'm the mother and I'm receiving, I also need to be in my best mindset and my best health in order to raise this child properly. And even if it is going to the dad as well, like there may not be the nourishment part, like he's not breastfeeding. So there's not, making sure he get proper nourishment as well. However, there's still the time and the resources. And again, I need to be in my best mindset and in my best mental and physical health to take care of a child as well. So when it comes to what you're spending the money on, not in these like abuse of the system situations, but in just like a perfect scenario world, like there shouldn't be, I guess, a list of like, no, it only needs to go for this child, because it's also like I'm trying to take care of the child. So where do you draw the line?
I think if I found myself in that circumstance, I 100% believe everything I said, but I think that to Paige's point, the court system is very messy, but that is not the only way to come with a child support agreement. And I would try to do it through mediation and come up with an agreement together before I let the court decide, because I do think like the court might not always weigh things equally and they could have their own predisposition. So it's just like, I would just go to mediation and try to set up things. I would also try to be as flexible with whoever my partner was at that time, like in terms of days to get picked up or anything. But that way, if things go left or things go sour, it's like you just have something to fall back on. And it's just like, I have friends who, from their perspective, have vindictive mothers. And they suffer a lot from that. But then it's like, but they don't want to get a court arrangement. And so then it's just kind of like, I mean, you don't want to go to mediation. You don't want to do the court stuff. You can't get on with your mother of your child. So then it's just like, what do you do? And that's why I just think, even like for my friends who are men in these situations, I think it's to their benefit to have arrangements instead of just going on the whim of the mother, who usually has custody of the child and is usually in control of these circumstances. I realize it can be different, but I just think it's to everybody that's have to agree with it.
I think the two situations I know of that have gotten messy go back to what we were saying in the beginning, like think before even conception and thinking about like who you're having sex with in general. Because a lot of those, like, or maybe you're in like a mystified perception of your relationship with another human being. And sometimes it does change. Sometimes the way y'all's dynamic is in your head does change when like a baby comes along, and that's something that you can't predict. But sometimes there are flags that you just don't see because you're like, blind and in love. But that real observation of like, how am I with this person before we even lay together? I know that's a little unrealistic in some circumstances because of, like, am I really gonna be that am I really thinking, I'm not thinking about kids at first, like when you're laying with somebody, but it's not something against.
Mm-hmm. And like even if it's marriage or kids, I would venture to say that if at least 50% of the people genuinely don't know or don't believe that the person who they're with is crazy. Like, you know, the people things that people go through in divorce. It's like if you knew he was gonna be an abusive cheater who don't take care of his kids, you wouldn't have married him. So it's just like, sure, signs could have been there, but either A, you don't believe it, or B, people really do change. They can be great at one point, and now they're not. So it's just like, in the event that so I guess I'm just defending you don't know what circumstance you're going to be in when your child arrives. And children.
So I wanted to go back to the hot topic about dating men with kids, and I forgot about this, but another reason why I'm not interested in it is because, again, with having to balance out the households, once me and this guy come together, let's just assume everybody's on the same like tax bracket or whatever. So we've now doubled our household income, which means we now have to increase the child support payments to the mother, which means it's probably coming.
Right? As if you get married.
Yes, as if you're married.
Maybe if you file your taxes together, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how they go, but I assume it would have to come out of my pocket,
right?
Huh?
You can only file your taxes together if you're married, right?
Or if you're like
choose to file separate.
You can file separate though.
Yeah, you can still file separate.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's based on what you're filing. So if we're filing separate, it's not going to be, child support isn't going to be based on household. It's going to be still based on you. So that's probably a reason why some people still file married separate. Yeah.
And this is also why I know plenty of couples who are together / almost married, but don't legally get married until the kids are 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I probably, like, if the child is already like 13, we're waiting.
Oh, okay.
Like, we could be together, but I probably wouldn't do anything legal yet, just for that reason.
No, I'm gonna just not bother with your ass.
I think
5 years. Bye.
But you can still be together. You just don't have to be
right. You're just not signing the paper.
Okay, but whatever my age is, okay.
Paige
you want me to
her
wait
wedding.
5 years to start having kids?
No, to get married. She's just saying married. You can,
but I would like to have kids within
a
a wedlock situation.
No, I understand. Right.
So you gotta wait 5 years to get married.
You ain't trying to deal with child support. That's what you're saying.
You know what? I don't even care about the child support. I don't want to deal with your life. I'm sorry.
I mean, I get it.
I think there's still that like probably illusion of relationship. So I know Tena was saying like get ahead of it. So, you know, if you know that this is not going to be a mutual agreement or something, like go to that mediation or get, you know, somebody, a third party involved so that you can come to a conclusion. I think that same like we were discussing with the Danny Lay situation, you may have like, you still got so much hope that, you know, like you can work it out. Or sometimes the guys too, like sometimes even though they don't want to be with their child's mother, they still don't want to make it difficult for them. Like, cause going to court is also a big expense and time commitment. So like, yeah, sometimes people just like, oh, we can still figure it out until 7 years come down the line and you realize y'all are still like arguing about the same thing. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, to all of our followers, all of our listeners, we would love to hear your opinion. What did we talk about today? Should child support be mandatory? Okay, and please, if you are on child support, we want to hear from you, male and female. What you think? You cool with it? You not? Is it better to just go ahead and put yourself on it, or should y'all try to work it out? All right, so that's been another episode. What you got to say, Paige? You want to say something?
Okay, one more question. If somebody is on child support and they're paying it monthly, should the person with the sole custody still be required to pay additional money where necessary?
What do you mean?
So like, I give you $500 a month, but you come back and you're like, little Timmy needs another pair of shoes.
Should I give you more outside of what child support requires me to give you? I feel like if you're invested in the relationship, you're going to do it anyway, right? I feel like if you're invested in your child, you're going to do it anyway. But for the people who really don't care and they're fine with being on child support and they don't want to be a part of that family, they're not going to give you no extra.
Minimum standards. I think it's minimum standards. It's child support.
I think it depends.
I also have an announcement before we go. Alanna, I forgive you. I will not continue this into my week. I'm gonna let it go right here, right now.
She lying like shit.
I love you, and I know that season 3 you're going to bring this up, but I love you, and I just want you to let it go.
What? Well, you know what? I said I'm gonna let it go. So
Thanks.
That lasted for 10 seconds. Man, wrap the
Okay, all right. Well, that's it, listeners. Let us know if you're on child support. Do not hit up Paige if you got a baby. Okay. You can
do not slide in the DM.
Do not slide in the DM. Okay. You better have your shit together. All right, that's been another episode. We love our faithful followers. I think we got like 2 more things coming at y'all, but make sure you go follow, like, comment, subscribe at Issa Debate Podcast. We love y'all.